Breaking news. President Trump and President Xi have just concluded a high-stakes phone call ahead of the much-anticipated Beijing summit, directly addressing critical issues like Taiwan and trade that have long defined the U.S.-China relationship. The world watched with bated breath as the leaders of the United States and China connected for what many are calling a pivotal conversation on February 4, 2026, a moment that could shape the course of international relations for years to come. This was far from a routine diplomatic check-in. Instead, it set the tone for the future of U.S.-China relations, signaling a possible turning point in a relationship often fraught with suspicion and rivalry. According to sources close to both administrations, the call was described as having extremely good vibes, a rare and welcome warmth in a relationship more often marked by tension and strategic competition. The timing of this conversation was crucial, coming just weeks before President Trump's highly anticipated visit to Beijing, a summit that is already under intense global scrutiny and expected to draw the world's attention. Both leaders made it clear they are personally invested in maintaining a functional and stable relationship, smoothing the path for face-to-face negotiations, and raising hopes for meaningful progress at the summit. The call comes at a time when Western nations are actively seeking to reset and improve ties with China, making this dialogue not just a bilateral event, but a centerpiece of a broader trend toward global re-engagement and cooperation. The conversation reportedly spanned a wide range of sensitive security issues and economic opportunities, underscoring the shared responsibility both nations have for ensuring global stability and prosperity in an increasingly interconnected world. President Trump's public praise of the call as excellent sets a hopeful and optimistic foundation for the upcoming summit, suggesting that both sides are genuinely committed to dialogue, cooperation, and finding common ground over confrontation. During the high-stakes call, President Xi Jinping made it unmistakably clear: Taiwan stands as the most critical and sensitive issue in the complex relationship between the U.S. and China. This topic, more than any other, defines the boundaries of trust and cooperation between the two global powers. He emphasized that Taiwan is a core interest deeply tied to China's sovereignty and national dignity, urging the U.S. to handle all related matters with the utmost caution, especially when it comes to arms sales and military support, which Beijing views as direct provocations. Xi reiterated China's unwavering commitment to eventual reunification, expressing a sincere hope for peaceful progress, but also signaling a firm and unyielding determination to defend China's position at all costs. By raising the Taiwan issue so directly, Xi drew a clear and unmistakable red line. Any U.S. support for Taiwanese independence, even indirect, could jeopardize the entire foundation of the U.S.-China relationship. The One China principle remains the unshakable bedrock of Sino-U.S. ties, and any deviation from this stance is seen by Beijing as a fundamental and unacceptable challenge to its authority. Xi's message served as a strategic and pointed reminder that while cooperation on other issues is possible, Taiwan remains absolutely non-negotiable for China's leadership. This level of clarity helps prevent accidental escalation, making both sides acutely aware of the boundaries that must not be crossed, and reinforcing the gravity of the situation. Xi's decisive move ensures that respect for China's core interest will weigh heavily on Trump's mind during his important visit to Beijing, shaping the tone and substance of all future discussions. After the call, President Trump publicly described his conversation with Xi as excellent, emphasizing the positive tone and the sense of progress achieved during their exchange. This statement signaled productive communication at the highest level, suggesting that both leaders were able to address key issues directly and constructively. This upbeat assessment projects strength and reassures both allies and global markets that the U.S.-China dynamic is being managed responsibly, with open lines of dialogue. Trump's preference for direct leader-to-leader diplomacy is on full display, as he aims to cut through bureaucracy, foster personal rapport, and create a sense of trust between the two nations. By highlighting the good vibes, Trump sets a positive narrative ahead of his upcoming Beijing trip, hoping to build momentum for substantive negotiations and meaningful agreements. His praise suggests a foundation of mutual respect, which is essential for making progress on complex issues like trade, security, and regional stability. This diplomatic dance, firmness from Xi, positivity from Trump, shows both leaders are navigating their complex relationship with skill, balancing national interests with the need for cooperation. The balance of firmness and optimism keeps the door open for future cooperation, even on contentious issues like Taiwan, and signals hope for continued dialogue. The Trump-Xi call covered far more than Taiwan. It spanned trade, security, and global crises. Economic ties took center stage, with discussions on China increasing purchases of American agricultural products, especially soybeans. The leaders also addressed the war in Ukraine and tensions with Iran, acknowledging their shared responsibility as global powers. This comprehensive agenda highlights the complexity of U.S.-China relations. Rivalry and cooperation coexist. The ability to shift from tense topics to practical cooperation shows diplomatic maturity on both sides. Cooperation in one area can balance competition in another, reflecting the multifaceted nature of their relationship. The willingness to engage on a wide range of issues signals a pragmatic approach to managing global challenges together. The Trump-Xi call is part of a broader trend. Western nations are recalibrating their relationships with China. After years of tension, many countries now seek pragmatic engagement, recognizing that decoupling from China isn't feasible. The U.S. is no exception. Trump's upcoming Beijing visit is the next step in this diplomatic reset. High-level dialogue is essential for building trust and managing competition responsibly. The positive tone of the call lays the groundwork for more productive discussions during the summit. The U.S., like its allies, aims to balance competition with engagement, steering the relationship toward stability. A standout moment: Xi Jinping's direct warning to Trump about U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. Xi called such sales deeply provocative, urging the U.S. to act with prudence, implying serious consequences if ignored. For China, arms sales violate the One China principle and embolden pro-independence forces, crossing a red line. Xi's forceful message underscored that progress in other areas could be derailed by this single issue. The U.S. faces a delicate balancing act, supporting Taiwan's defense while maintaining stable ties with Beijing. Every arms package for Taipei risks a strong reaction from China, making this a persistent flashpoint. Even amid positive dialogue, fundamental disagreements like this require constant management. Xi's stance ensures Taiwan will remain a central challenge in U.S.-China relations. Despite disagreements, the call underscored a shared commitment to mutual understanding and cooperation. Both leaders agreed to continue dialogue in a spirit of equality and respect, laying groundwork for a more balanced relationship. Each leader clearly articulated their primary concerns: Taiwan for Xi, trade and security for Trump. Listening, even without agreement, is the first step toward managing differences without hostility. Cooperation on global issues, economic stability, climate, public health, remains possible and necessary. The call reinforced that while competitors, the U.S. and China aren't destined to be adversaries. Building trust will require ongoing effort, but this conversation was an important step forward. Hours before speaking with Trump, Xi Jinping held a virtual meeting with Vladimir Putin, a deliberate display of China's global reach. Engaging both the U.S. and Russia in quick succession, Beijing projects itself as a central player in world affairs. The deepening China-Russia partnership challenges U.S. dominance, while China's economic ties to the U.S. remain vital. This dual-track diplomacy lets China hedge its bets, strengthening alliances while managing rivalry. Under Xi, China is a global force, building a web of relationships from Moscow to Washington. The US must navigate this multipolar reality with care and foresight. The Trump-Xi phone call was more than diplomatic courtesy. It will shape the future of US-China relations and global order. The positive tone has eased tensions and opened a window for productive dialogue ahead of the Beijing summit. Xi's firm stance on Taiwan and the broad agenda discussed highlight both the risks and opportunities in the relationship. The call fits a global trend. Western nations seeking stable engagement with China, not confrontation. China's simultaneous outreach to Russia signals its growing confidence and strategic agility. The future depends on both sides building on this momentum, committing to respect, clear boundaries, and ongoing dialogue. For now, the world can take comfort that its two most powerful leaders are talking.